Welcome to the Flags of Change segment, where we explore how powerful symbols are often born from the bold vision of just one individual. And today we're joined by Jeff Green. He's Carrot Top's Business Development Manager. Thank you, Jeff, for joining us.
I'm pleased to do it.
So, Jeff, your family has faced breast cancer firsthand with your wife, Shay's diagnosis. Can you share a little bit about what that journey has been like and how it shaped the way you see awareness efforts like this?
Oh, I don't think we have enough time in the day to discuss how it's affected us in the long term. Let me say that not only has my wife, Shay, been diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer, my mom had 2 bouts with it, and my stepmom had 2 bouts with it. And of course, I have 2 daughters. So knowing how breast cancer has not only affected my family, but the community, and knowing what we went through from the time that my wife Shay was first diagnosed to going through helping her learn to self-advocate, watching her literally work to make sure that she was not victimized by cancer, and then seeing all that she's done and all we did together to get through it. It's enabled me to have a different view of not only breast cancer, but more importantly, what's important for those who are diagnosed.
Jeff, I kind of had a personal experience myself. My daughter was diagnosed and had to go on that journey. It wasn't breast cancer, it was another kind of cancer, but initially it's something that you feel like you're traveling this road alone. You know what I mean? Maybe you don't. You know, it's you and your family against the world for a while. And people didn't talk about cancer a lot. And then all of a sudden you saw the National Football League and they have pink on, and pink became a symbol of breast cancer. How important is it for those symbols for just the overall fight and just, having that camaraderie or support from just strangers when it comes to battling cancer?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the pink and the wearing the pink and the pink cleans with the NFL and the Breast Cancer Awareness Month and the walks and all the attempt to raise money are great. But I think what's most important about all of this is that we need to use this opportunity to come forward and help people become, as you said, not isolated, but become self-advocates. To give breast cancer patients choices, to give them information, to give communities the ability not to be victims of cancer. And I think most importantly, to spread hope, to have unity, and to have solidarity in efforts to save lives. And I think that's what this is all about. It's not just about awareness and making sure that women get mammograms and that we celebrate survivors. All that's important, but I think it's important at the end of the day to empower communities to move forward beyond this.
Oh, you have a flag? Tell me about the flag. What's going on with the flag? So we have pink as the color, but now the flag that represents breast cancer.
Well, I think the flag is symbolized not only by the color pink, but the ribbons. And I think as we move forward, like 50 years ago when survival rates with breast cancer were really, if you were diagnosed with breast cancer, your chances of survival were about 50%. Today, if you're diagnosed with stage 2 or stage 3 breast cancer, your survival rate is almost 90%. So the ribbon not only bring about that unity, but they talk about narrowing the gap. And if we ultimately narrow the gap, there won't be any space between those ribbons. And I think that's what's important when we look at that breast cancer flag.
I think you said that awareness, it isn't just about highlighting and celebrating people, it's about saving lives. And we have closed that gap. I think that thank goodness when people are diagnosed. My mother was also diagnosed and was able to kind of. I remember like it not being that big of a deal almost. Like she had to go through radiation and stuff, but it just felt like for her, thank goodness it was kind of like a smooth path. Where do you think that we need to push harder? If we've kind of closed this gap, where are the areas that we need to push harder?
Well, the first thing is that even though we have breast cancer survivors, the treatments can be rough. My wife, Shay, even though she is a 14-year survivor, has continued to have issues and medical issues that are really serious, including hospitalizations and sepsis and all kinds of things. They don't tell you that in surviving. The treatment can be rough. But I think most importantly, is we take a look, it costs between $600 and $800 a year to go forward and give people the resources to go forward and to go through the testing and everything necessary to stay ahead of breast cancer and to diagnose it sooner. We have now liquid biopsies and everything that are speeding things up. We've lowered the survival rate. We have new cell treatments and new drugs that have pushed things forward. But yet, it could cost over $100,000 and up to $1 million to treat breast cancer. And then on top of that, when you take a look at the survival rate in disadvantaged communities and those people who don't have insurance, among younger women and younger breast cancer diagnostic areas, Black women have higher mortality rates and those types of things. And we need to not only spread awareness related to that, but we need to make sure that everybody has access, because at the end of the day, that not only affects those families, it affects our communities. So we need to do better. And on top of it, when you take a look at, we've made all this progress, we have all these drugs, but in recent years, these cancer research studies have not been properly funded. And then in the last year, we've had NIH grants, we've had studies halted and canceled, we've had insurance companies that aren't covering things. And on top of it, it's become harder and harder to navigate the medical system, the insurance systems, and things like that. And again, breast cancer patients need options. They need knowledge. They need everything they need to be self-advocates. Their families need to do that. And we need to do better as a community to make sure that we continue to press forward and save lives.
Amen. I mean, as I said, I know firsthand the position you were in, and I know how lonely it can be and overwhelming it can be. So when you hoist the flag this October, or the inspiration you would like to leave the folks with today, Jeff, is what?
Well, I think for starters, when we wave the flag, it means that as a community, we're not willing to be victims. We need to celebrate that, and we need to celebrate the fact that we don't need to be victims of this, that we can support our communities, we can support those families and people who have been sadly diagnosed with this. And I think we need to look at that. I think we need to step up our efforts to support them. I think we need to step up our efforts to learn what we need to know about what's going on, to write our representatives. And most important, I think we need to move forward to support those charities and organizations that are in the know, that are doing the right work to move this forward.
Well said.
Yeah, well said. Thank you so much for joining us, Jeff, and for sharing your story.
Well, thank you for inviting me, and I hope to not only see more flags this year, but I hope as the years goes on that we can see the number of people who survive this and the number of communities that get past this to increase. I think as we see that, we can take more pride in the flag and in these efforts.
Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate everything you're doing. Pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you. Thank you for inviting me.